You know, sometimes you get a single day that just seems to capture everything about us. Our highest hopes, right alongside our absolute worst instincts. April 4th, 2026 was totally one of those days. It was this incredible mix of ultimatums and breakthroughs, of all-out conflict and pure creation, all happening at the exact same time. And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got this terrifying clock ticking down to a potential war in the Middle East. And on the other, humanity is literally looking back at itself from farther out in space than ever before. I mean, two completely different stories, playing out on the same little planet on the same day. So how did it all unfold?
Okay, so we have to start with the most urgent story, right? This flashpoint in the Middle East that was just threatening to explode. Now, the tension between the US and Iran, that's nothing new, of course. But on this particular day, it hit a whole new level.
And wow, just look at this quote. This wasn't some subtle diplomatic language. President Trump laid down a 48-hour ultimatum, flat out demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And the threat wasn't vague at all. He was talking about targeting Iran's energy and water desalination plants. I mean, literally the country's lifeblood.
So let's just walk through how quickly this all happened, because things went from 0 to 100 real fast. The ultimatum, that was just the opening shot. What came next was this rapid, violent tit-for-tat that pushed everyone right to the edge. It was a classic case of action and reaction, and with every move, the stakes just got higher and higher.
Iran's response? It was immediate, and it was forceful. They claimed to have shot down 2 American warplanes, an F-15E and an A-10 Warthog, flying over their territory. And just like that, this wasn't about threats on TV anymore. This was real, with a direct human cost for the US military. And that cost gets very specific very fast. 1. While some of the pilots and crew were rescued, 1 US airman was still missing. So now, on top of this massive geopolitical crisis, you have a frantic search and rescue mission going on inside hostile territory. 1 person's life just hanging in the balance.
So it's super important to get this. This wasn't just a two-player game. Not even close. The conflict immediately started pulling in other countries. The US hits back with a major strike on Tehran. Iran retaliates, but they hit targets in Kuwait and the UAE. Then Iraq gets caught in the middle and has to shut down a border crossing, and all the while, there are reports that China is quietly helping fuel Iran's missile program. The entire region was just holding its breath.
And then, just when you thought it couldn't get any scarier, it did. A projectile, and in the chaos, nobody was even sure where it came from. Strikes near Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant. Now, a security guard was killed, which is tragic, but the bigger fear, the one Iran immediately started screaming to the UN about, was the unthinkable risk of radioactive contamination. The stakes had just gone nuclear.
Okay, deep breath. Because while all of that was unfolding on the ground, part of humanity was also looking up, reaching for something else. And this is where the story of the day just does a complete 180, shifting away from the battlefield and over to the frontiers of science and technology.
I mean, look at this. At the very same time the world seemed to be tearing itself apart, NASA released these pictures, the first ever high-def photos of Earth, taken by the Artemis II crew way out in deep space on their trip to the moon. It's just a moment of pure awe, right? This beautiful, peaceful image of our fragile little home, sent back from the total silence of space. You couldn't ask for a bigger contrast to the chaos below.
And that theme of progress and its limits just kept going all day. On one hand, you had this big, high-profile AI hunt for a missing Nazi war criminal that reportedly just failed. A good reminder that our tech has limits. But on the other hand, we got news of a medical breakthrough that was genuinely world-changing.
And this is that story. It's about a drug called lenacapavir. In trials, this injection, which you only need twice a year, was so incredibly effective at preventing HIV, they started calling it a functional vaccine. Now think about that. This isn't just another step forward. This is a drug that could actually end the AIDS epidemic, a monumental leap for all of us.
But of course, none of this was happening in a vacuum. The fight in the Middle East, these amazing scientific moments, all around the world, other countries were dealing with their own massive internal pressures. And what's really fascinating is this strange parallel. In the United States, a new attorney general started this huge purge, firing tons of top military and government officials. And at the exact same time in Iran, the government was using the war as a cover to speed up executions and crush any internal dissent. Both of the main players in this conflict were busy consolidating power at home.
And we can't forget, just because a new crisis flares up, the old ones don't just disappear. While everyone's attention was glued to Iran, the war in Ukraine was still grinding on. At least 15 more people were killed in Russian strikes, even as there were whispers about potential peace talks. It's just relentless.
So, where does all this leave us? You've got war, you've got discovery, you've got repression, and you've got incredible hope, all tangled up together in one single, chaotic news cycle. It's pretty much the core contradiction of our time, just laid bare for everyone to see.
And this right here, might be the final piece of the puzzle. Because even on a day packed with this much history, life, well, it just keeps going. In Las Vegas, a new UFC champion was crowned. An entire nation, Italy, was in mourning because its soccer team didn't qualify for the World Cup. And these things seem so small in comparison, but they're a powerful reminder that the world just keeps on spinning no matter what.
It's really the ultimate contrast, isn't it? Our capacity for self-destruction on a global scale and our relentless, unshakable drive to discover, to heal, and to just live. All of it happening at once. So I guess the question this one day leaves us with is a pretty big one. When you're faced with your best and your worst selves at the exact same time, what does that really tell us about who we are and where we're all headed?